Hello everybody, it's Jude the Exceptional Gamer here, bringing you another Fortnite Battle Royale video. And before I even get into the topic of today's video and everything, which I'm sure you've probably read by the title anyway, I just want you guys to tell me whether or not you think this is fair. Say what you want, but that just wasn't fair. Anyway, the subject of today's video, obviously as you have read by the title, is the jetpack too overpowered in Fortnite Battle Royale? And the answer to that is yes. And because this is my opinion, you don't have to agree with this, which is totally fine, so just comment why you do or don't agree down below and we'll have a discussion about it. So basically what I've done to dictate whether this thing is too OP or not is I split it off, like the features of it off, into 3 categories, and they are the flow of gameplay, the balance of gameplay, and the changes to the gameplay. Such categories do allow me to have a lot more of a critical look and more of a better understanding, but not only to me but to you guys, of just how this jetpack really would change things and really has, and why I believe it is an overpowered feature within the game. The first thing that I am going to start with is the flow of gameplay and how the jetpack affects that part of Fortnite. With this being in the game, the whole flow and motion, and I guess you could say consistency of it all, it gets quite interrupted due to this thing being used. So basically what I mean by this is just the way you enjoy Fortnite, the way you enjoy being in battles, and how fast or slow it all goes, and how it all comes together to make the Battle Royale experience that you enjoy, with battles not being too fast, not being too slow, and just the way it all happens. And also just think of it as what motivates you to keep playing, what makes you want to keep playing. That's another aspect of flow. So now that I've listed these things, if you haven't already got the conclusion in your head as to why the jetpack does interrupt them things, you're not meant to be airborne in a Battle Royale game very often. I mean, sure, launch pads are in there, but you're only airborne very briefly, and you can't fire a weapon. The fact that it basically allows you to do that interrupts a lot of the core aspects of Fortnite. I mean, if you get killed by someone with a jetpack, you don't want to keep playing. It's like, I've worked so hard to get all the loot and things, and by killing people, and I do all this, and I'm in second place, there's 2 people left, including me, and then all of a sudden there's just some guy with a jetpack that it just easily kills you, and there's no real fight, and that's what I mean by interrupting the flow. There's just no reward to a battle. It makes you feel like there's just no consistency, nor is there any reward to what it is you've been doing, whether that's just enjoying a kill or dying with dignity. Another way that the flow of it is changed is just because the jetpack just prevents the smooth consistency of building. Building is one of the biggest things that makes Fortnite unique, and the fact that the jetpack completely eliminates the need to build. If 2 people have jetpacks, why do you need to build? You build mainly in a build battle not only to give yourself some cover, but to get the high ground. So if you've got jetpacks, then I'm just going to refer back to the question I asked earlier. And I think the last key point that makes the flow of gameplay just completely ruined by this jetpack is how unpredictable encounters can be. You don't know if someone's got a jetpack until you see it on the back, or until you see them shoot up in the air and you're just like, wait, what? Oh yeah, he's got a jetpack, and before you can even think that, you're dead. What I'm trying to say is, it's abnormal, this idea of a jetpack. Usually you see someone, you assume they are going to stay on foot, so you don't expect it, and it makes it not random and unpredictable in a sense where it's like, oh shit, this is happening, this is cool. It just makes you throw your controller or your keyboard across the room, and then you go, no, I'm going to bed. And it doesn't make you want to keep playing which is what the flow of gameplay is meant to do, it makes you kind of just think, okay, he had a jetpack anyway, so that I was gonna die. There was no way I could do anything about it. Onto the second... You know what? I'll call them laws of gameplay. The second law of gameplay is going to be the balance of gameplay. So the balance of gameplay is basically what makes the game fair, what makes it actually balanced, obviously, to the point where you can have a fair fight and it's about skill that makes you kill somebody and get the victory royale, instead of it being some unfair bullshit like the jetpack. An example of this before the jetpack was the missile launcher, like the guided missile, and that thing, my god, if you had a full squad of 4 and you all had one of them, that is 4 rockets flying in, you know, flying wherever you want them to go, and a full team, 4 of them rockets, and they do about 100 odd damage. So if they were flying at a base or just at you, yeah, very imbalanced, very unfair. There's just not a lot you can do. Well, maybe you can build, but there's 4 of the damn things. So that's why Epic Games removed them, due to them being very unfair. And good balance equals good fun, so as you can see, it's very important that this thing actually has attention put towards it, and that a game is fair. So with that explained, let's talk about what the jetpack does to completely turn this thing around. Building battles are unfair if somebody's got this thing. There are people that put hours upon hours of just time into games of Fortnite to just master the art of building and be the best of the best, and they just kind of get shit on, basically. It doesn't matter how good you are at building, a jetpack can easily just fly above your head, get an easy headshot, get instant high ground, and Fortnite has building in it. It's just like what I said earlier on in the video, it's what makes it so unique. And not only the people that have learnt to build so well probably feel like this is all been a waste of their time, but it also just removes the aspect of that kind of combat in general, and that is scary. If there were enough people with jetpacks in a match of Fortnite, building would be scarce. There just wouldn't be a lot of it, and the building that would be there would not be enough to shift the tide of gameplay between a battle between somebody with and somebody without a jetpack. It just makes the game so unfair, aka imbalanced. The jetpack also makes the balance of the gameplay so unfair, purely because of just how there is so much fuel in that thing. You have definitely got enough fuel in there to last you the whole match if you're not, you know, jumping around like just to get up to places where you could have built to get there anyway. If you're one of the last people in the match and somebody's got a jetpack, honestly, like, there's still got fuel, and there's still just that annoyance of just having to deal with them and knowing that you're probably gonna die by them 9 times out of 10. There is also no fall damage as long as you have this thing on your back. That is not an issue, which just also shits on people that build in battles even more, because they can fall, but people with jetpacks, they don't have to build, nor do they have to take the consequences of fall damage. And them two things put together versus somebody that is actually trying his like proper building, honestly, do you see the imbalance here? Do you see how it's just not fair? Even if you build or just take cover or anything, it's just so hard to counter. Honestly, if someone's flying towards you with a jetpack holding a shotgun, like, what do? You can only just spray and hope for the best that you end up killing them, because unless there is some, you know, massive, like, huge, cool technique to block them or, like, to counter their attacks, honestly, I don't see one. I've tried everything. I just don't know if there's any way you can really counter these to a point where the game is actually fair. So, in my opinion, that is why the jetpack just interrupts not only the flow of gameplay, but also the balance of gameplay. On to the third and final law of gameplay that this has just completely flipped on its head and just ruined. is going to be just the changes that it has made to how we play the game. So the most obvious thing is fights can be more airborne, which I appreciate that Epic Games tried this, but honestly I don't think it has worked, and they need to just take this out, because there shouldn't be battles that consist of being only airborne. Like Hop Rocks, they're good and balanced because whilst you can be a lot more airborne with them, the whole battle just doesn't take place with you being airborne. So like, you won't be in the sky for ages and ages until the battle's over. You'll just, you know, they'll wear out after like not even that long, whereas the jetpack lasts for a while, so you will be in the sky fighting a lot more, and that just kind of, that's not a good thing. In Fortnite you shouldn't be in the air for so long. With launch pads you can't even shoot anyway, so I guess you can be in the sky, that's fine, but like I said, a battle can't really take place until you land. Impulse grenades, you can actually die if you misuse them, so they're more of a use at your own risk kind of thing, and you know, you can't be in the air for that long with them things, so eventually you're gonna have to land, so it just balances it out nicely, and it hasn't changed the gameplay too significantly. And that's where the jetpack's big fault lies. It changes gameplay too much, to the point where you are in the air for too long, making battles unfair, and it just changes the whole thing too much. People that focus on building can just be killed by some noob with a jetpack, no matter how hard they try, just with ease, and it's really weird, because Fortnite is one of them games that you get good at. You know, you got to learn how to shoot a sniper, you got to learn that the consistency and inconsistencies of each gun. You feel proud for mastering it, so when you get a win it's so rewarding. But honestly, if I won with a jetpack I'd be like, oh cool, I got a win, but honestly I would realise that I've had that handicap. That's also a bad thing, and like the last point, it's just too much of a change, you know, it takes the skill out of Fortnite. Much like what the guided rockets did, making it even more of a reason for them to remove it, because Epic Games did also remove the guided rocket because it was too imbalanced and overpowered. And the final big change is much, like very similar to the flow of gameplay. This is just how matches, not even just encounters, but matches are just more unpredictable as a whole. There could not only be one person with a jetpack, but there could be 2 people with a jetpack. There could also be 3 people with a jetpack, or 4, or 5, you get my point. A lot of people could get a jetpack, and that's kind of scary. All these changes put together make overwhelmingly bad change. It's just too much change, not a good change. It doesn't benefit anybody, it just breaks the game. So in my opinion, that is why I personally think that the jetpack is just too overpowered. I've discussed like the whole like 3 laws of gameplay, which I've just made. That's probably already a thing, but oh well. Thank you so much if you have made it all the way through to the end of this video, because my god, just thinking of all these things and just giving this quite a in-depth analysis it's took a while, and I hope you understood everything I've said. I hope you've kind of took it on board, and maybe if you thought that the jetpack was a good thing, maybe it's changed your opinion of it. Either way, just tell me down in the comments. I'll be so happy to see some discussion going on. But anyways guys, I'm going to leave this video here today. If you enjoyed, be sure to smash that like button, comment and subscribe for more. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.